What up, world? We are back. This is another season. This is my second season. Appreciate X and the staff here at Timeless Studios helping me out and elevate me, getting me together, you know. So it's a new season, new topics, new things to talk about. This first episode is gonna be kind of one of those deep episodes. We go touch base. And if you don't know, my show is Men vs. Truth vs. Women podcast. I basically have a beautiful young lady here and then a handsome young man here. And we basically have the two talk about situations and different topics and see what the female man is and see what the male man is. So this week's first episode of season 2, we're going to be talking about a little in depth. The reason I chose this episode today, which is going to be mental behavior. In the community of Cincinnati right now, we've been having a dark cloud, if you can agree with that, far as the killing, not even just here, it's just, you got it everywhere in the United States right now. And then with the bad behaviors that come with politics, we deal with that as well. So it's really a time of, I feel like, a time of clearance. Time of cleansing of the body, time of cleansing the mental. Because at this time, like right now, I feel like personally in my life, I'm always on the go. And my kids slow me down, but my mind's still racing. So that's why I call today mental behavior, due to the fact that I feel like right now, we have to talk about some things as far as mental health. It's a need. Like my friend here tells us about therapy, and then my friend here knows a lot about therapy. So we're going to talk about it. We'll get to the subjects, and we go actually discuss these things. So I'm going to start with this beautiful young lady. This is, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us what you got going on.
Sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Glass. I'm the owner of Black Women Cultivating Change, where we work to reduce the stigma related to mental health and wellness in the Black community here in Cincinnati. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we host events. We advocate. We just really try to educate and provide resources to people in the Black community. So we want to make it a more comfortable conversation. I'm a huge advocate for therapy and anything to do with mental wellness. So thank you for bringing me on the show.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate you coming on. This is my secret light of ray to new businesses too. So see, if you need help with anything, Ashley can help you. She's great with that. She's a great person. And then this gentleman right here.
Hey everyone, I am Evan. You may know me as X, Young X, or Mama name me Evan. Owner of Timeless Recording Studio. Here where Will's doing his podcast. Yeah. So, own recording studio, music producer, producing records for a couple of people. And,
couple of people?
Yeah.
Just a couple?
Worked with K Camp, Rick Ross, Young Thug, Lantana, lots of different people. Been doing some things with movies and also some real estate. So just entrepreneur across the board, and definitely big on mental health as it relates to, I'm not going to say I'm a guru or anything. I'm more of a student. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important, and I love to talk about those kind of things. Yeah, I need help. We all need help.
Yeah, we do. Everybody, I want to advocate this as well. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, please do. Go talk to somebody. Don't be hesitant about it. Always be, if it even runs past your mind, this is something I always promote. Go see somebody. There ain't nothing wrong with talking to nobody. I've been trying to figure out, I'm getting ready to do it myself. I'm just putting it in, speaking it into existence, just because sometimes you just need to express things. You need to let things go. So we're going to first off talk about this. We're going to talk about you guys and what you got going on. Okay. What made you do this? What made you start your nonprofit program, and what made you get that going?
Okay. So I started it during COVID. A lot of people did that. But for me, I deal with anxiety and seasonal depression. So with me getting connected with resources and therapy and that sort of thing, I really saw a need and wanted to kind of be a voice as well as connect my loved ones and people in the community to resources, because it really has helped me. Something I dealt with for a long time and just kept really having anger outbursts and stressed out all the time, and finally got the help that I needed. So I'm really passionate about it. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Ever since I've been at your mama's house barbecuing and everything, I have never asked you this. What made you want to build this empire? What made you want to do this? I already knew you had a passion for the music. I knew that.
Yeah.
But this is a different level.
Yeah, that's a great question. So ultimately, I think I'm very inspired and driven by just progress. Like I've always been big on elevating, raising the bar. And with that, I think one of my biggest things is I love to bring people with me and also raise the bar so that they can reach that bar and we keep progressing, you know? So that's kind of how we ended up here. It started off in my mom's, attic.
Oh, I remember.
And I would look around and just be like, man, it could be so much bigger, and not just for me. I love helping people. So that was another thing, I could have did a studio where it's just one room, just me, minimalist, don't need much. There's a lot of millionaires that's, you walk in their office and be like, dude, you're a millionaire. You just got this, but I just wanted to create something and create a platform that can bring others along and give others opportunities to do the same thing. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, that's amazing, man. I am like you because I want to do the same thing. I'm just still figuring it out. You got to build your foundation and then you spread yourself. So that's the biggest thing in regards of you doing this business. I'm gonna give you your flowers now. The reason I give you your flowers, you are one of the first in the city to do it like this, next to high tech, and you have not changed one bit. And it's an amazing thing. I've seen your growth. I've seen you be in your mama attic. I've seen you move from building to building, doing with it. And now that you're here in this location, which is beautiful. If you haven't been to Timeless, please come to Timeless. Check it out. Just get through a walkthrough. Nice. It's really pretty. It's really nice. He put his old I feel like he put his Barry White mold on this place. So definitely come check out Timeless and just see what he's got going on. I promote everybody. Shout out to Arts. They know I promote them. So I just try to promote everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater. I'm not gonna be one. I never will. I'm gonna definitely go to her events. She has some of the best events in the city.
Oh, thank you.
And in a positive mindset. So those are big things. So speaking of community, we're gonna talk about some things right now. Like it is really popular right now. So mental behavior. What are things that you think in your opinions, what do you think are triggers for mental behavior, negative mental behavior? I'll say it like that. What are things that trigger these breakdowns, these lash outs, these shootings, things to that nature?
I would start with hurt and pain at the end of the day. Like for me, that's the foundation. And I think that that's one of the emotions that a lot of us, one, don't like to experience, and two, don't know how to experience pain, process it, and actually grow from it. We, as kids, I wasn't taught about emotions. I don't know if anybody else was, but the schools didn't teach you about emotions. In the household, our parents really didn't. It was shut up, do what I say. You can't feel that way. You shouldn't feel that way. And we had to learn to suppress. So I would say the root stem definitely like pain, hurt.
Yeah, I agree. What about you?
I would agree. And let me say I'm not a therapist, but I would say, to piggyback off of what you said, is the childhood trauma. So a lot of us have experienced trauma in our childhood, and sometimes we suppress it and don't even, like, we'll forget it because that was our way of dealing with it, and we'll be triggered, and it'll come out in a lash out, like you said, or an angry outburst. And so just not ever dealing with what we went through in our childhood, as well as trauma in our adulthood too. I think we all face different things. And you had mentioned emotions. There's so many different emotions. And I was thinking, if you Google, there's like an emotion wheel. And I've been trying to get better at not just saying I'm angry or I'm mad. There's so many other emotions besides just those two words. So, so many different other words. So just really exposing yourself to different terms and terminology, I think really helps too. Not just always going to angry and mad. I'm trying to think of another thing. I think it's generational as well. So not only do we have our own traumas, but our parents had their own traumas and their parents had their own traumas. So it's a lot of just generational, people say generational curses or trauma. And it, manifests in different ways. So.
And it's funny you speak of that. I was on Twitter yesterday, and I don't know if y'all seen the video, but Scrappy was going off on his mom.
I think I didn't watch it, but I know I think I've seen something.
And he said key things, and he said, I watched it. I wanted to look and see like what else transpired on this episode, and he basically was saying, you took out stuff on me, and I ain't had nothing to do with it. I'm your child, and you doing this to me, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But the trauma came before he was even here. Came from her parents. Came from her going through struggle. So that trickle, like you said, the trickle down effect, and I'm sorry, I'm playing the truth right now. So, but the trickle down effect actually was true in that situation, because he said, my daughter ain't gonna ever experience what you did to me. It's a difference. So generational is something I agree with, but I also feel like when it comes to us, and I'm gonna get to this in a minute, it comes to the Black community, I feel like we don't understand what emotions are. We know what it means. We know the word, but we really don't know what emotions are.
Yeah.
Like me lashing out to X just because I'm angry, and I don't know why I'm angry. That's a way of saying like we don't understand emotions.
Yeah.
So nor how to communicate.
Yeah.
And then the communication line.
Yeah.
The communication line is big too. But let's go get to my next question. Do you think this affects the Black community more than any other race?
You want to start?
I'm going to say yes. Just because we have been taught so much to suppress everything, like, and put on this strong persona, both men and women. So, for me, I would say yes. I think the Black community experiences it the worst. And then, even with the mental health profession, if you're dealing with a therapist or a professional that's not culturally competent or doesn't really know about the Black community's traumas, you can get misdiagnosed or get prescribed the wrong medication, which could end up with you either being hooked on that medication or having a terrible side effect. So I think we just kind of have a bad end of the stick is the best way for me to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's sad because as I think about just different generations and families and environments, we actually try to escape from dealing with that mental illness. I know we throw that word around and sometimes we judge people, but we all have mental illness. I have mental illness. It's different levels to it. And sometimes you don't even know, how deep you are into it.
Yeah.
But I think about, when our parents, but our parents are, in the 80s when they went to drugs, you know what I mean?
And the cocaine
epidemic. Like, I think about how we don't want to, we look at therapy as this bad thing. So it's like, no, I'm not doing therapy, but I'll smoke. I'll drink this pain away. I'll drink this sorrow, so or violence at the end of the day.
Yeah.
What you say, I'm gonna take this out on you. And that was okay for us. You know, you remember our parents used to say, y'all need to go ahead and fight, or friends, influences, y'all get it out the way. That what kind of was that positive? Was that healthy? You know, we thought it was, because it's like you got to get it out.
Physically, it definitely wasn't healthy.
But even that messes you up mentally because you grow up thinking, okay, this is how
That's how I'm gonna solve problems.
Yep.
So I agree, and it's deep and it's sad, but definitely the Black community on so many levels, from slavery to racism, you know, to segregation, to whatever you would call this now. I mean, this is a whole new day and age of mental issues.
I'm gonna play the truth on this. I think us as a Black community, we take it the hardest, but I think there are other races that are probably far along than us, just because we wasn't here first. We was in another country. We was brought here. So I think it's another race, or there are other races that may handle this differently, or may have found their fixing for these things before us. But my next question is, do you think it's causing failure to the Black community? To what extent?
Absolutely. I think if we got our mental health together, that's going to, spiral in a good way. I mean, I'm a huge advocate when it comes to anything related to health. If you don't have your mental health together, it's going to show up physically. It's going to show up, in all other sorts of ways. So I think if we could really get our mental wellness together and come together as a community and really deal with the trauma and heal, I think, we would see a huge improvement. So that's just my.
I mean, with that, I mean, a lot. So I'm gonna play advocate only because, it's one thing to say, we know what we need to do and we need to heal. But what does that mean, right? I think we're all still healing from different things.
Absolutely.
And even trying to learn how to heal. I don't know what heal means. I know when I get a bruise and, put a Band-Aid, alcohol, clean it, boom, let it scab up, it'll heal. But emotionally, if I wasn't even taught my emotions, how I'm going to be even taught how to heal? So I think a lot of us know what we need to do. But the real question is why aren't we privy to this information? Just as much as we can spread a song, why aren't we spreading mental illness awareness or mental awareness, until something crazy happens, and then we're starting to say therapy, but where is that at when
we're in the
where's
high?
the
Club,
prevention?
we're in the
high.
Are we looking at success and everybody's having a good time? Are we too busy flexing on each other? Where are those people that's like, nah, we still need to. So the information and just spreading that awareness, like we would do songs and trends and other things, entertainment, it's not there as much. Yeah. So it's hard to, for a young person, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, but I do agree. We do need that, but we need to address, how do we get there though? How do we put this out there so that people are aware? Like what you're doing, how you're starting this season off with this topic, that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the big thing about this situation, like you both were saying, we have, as a community, have not learned to come together yet. It's something we still have not learned. It's been eons. So, I mean, I think the Black Panther was the last positive thing that I ain't gonna say the last, but the most common, like where they was defending themselves, they was honoring for their community, which was a great example, in which it eventually started spreading all over the country, and then it became a threat to everybody. So the thing is, when it comes to that, we have not seen that since. We've not seen the joining.
Yeah. It's a different time, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's a different time.
And social media is taking a part of that as well. But the things is, there's never not an opportunity for us to actually excel, to progress. Actually, like us three getting together is just a simple conversation, and we don't even know who we go touch. That's my
true.
biggest thing about that. So we can't never end it as like, okay, we'll never come together again, or we can't even have that mindset. We got to want that mindset. There's something we have to want, and everybody has to be on the same page. Prides and egos can't get in the way. And I think that's really the big thing that has become a monkey on our back as far as the Black community.
Yeah. A lot of us are afraid to come together.
For real. Yes, for sure. For sure.
We're
just because of hearsay.
Yeah.
Just because of hearsay.
Yeah.
It's really just because of
each
hearsay.
other.
Yeah. Oh, I know he don't like me. Dude don't even know you.
Yeah. That's true.
And that's a crazy thing about it, because I remember, it's funny that you brought up homecoming. I had a conversation, I'm not going to put an individual out there, but I had a conversation, I said, dude was like, well, I don't fool with him. I was like, what? Do you know him? I said, nah, I know him from somebody else. Okay. What does that have to do with you? Because it was like a network type of situation. I was like, oh, my homeboy do photography. Joseph Lincoln, oh, no, I don't fool with him. What? What's wrong with you? So it just blew my mind that like it just took from somebody hearing a situation from somebody else makes you miss a blessing. And I think a lot of people don't realize sometimes you not talking to a certain person or engaging or networking with somebody, you don't even know if that could be a blessing or that could be the life-changing moment that you missed out on.
Very true.
That person was taught that though.
It was.
Childhood.
Yeah.
In some kind of way, he was taught to dislike something that he may not know, or he has some trauma that he's dealing with that's how it's coming out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's like our parents telling us, you have to work a 9 to 5. It's the same way. You have to work a 9 to 5. You can't survive without having a 9 to 5 and benefits. So my friend is an entrepreneur. He's making great money, but you want me to work a 9 to 5 where I'm slaving, and I got to wait 30 years before I can retire and actually live
That's because
okay.
they're inflicting their
That's
trauma
what they did.
on you.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Absolutely.
generational.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generational. I do want to get to a touchy moment right now. It's a question that I'll probably be the first one to address. So I'm going to ask you guys a traumatic moment in your past that affected you and made you change your mindset. So I'll start with mine. It's touchy to me because it has something to do with my child. 2016, I was involved in a car accident and I had an OVI. I sat in the cell for 3 days. It was Labor Day. I missed one of my closest friends growing up. I missed her wedding just because of my stupidity, thinking I can drive up the street 5 minutes from my grandfather's house to go home just so I can get him in the bed. My son was like 10 months. I ended up getting blindsided on a major street. The only reason I'm still here right now, and it took me a while to speak on this just because it's a traumatic moment for me, but only reason I'm alive is because I had my seatbelt on. My son was strapped in correctly. It was to the point the fireman couldn't even get the seat out. I was strapped in so good. And, the bar between the front door and the back door, that bar wasn't there, I'd have been dead.
Wow.
So it was a traumatic moment for me because it took me to the bottom. The bottom. When I tell you the bottom, I couldn't get a job. I couldn't do nothing. I was on probation. I just was in a black hole. I got a restraining order put on me because it was a child endangerment situation. I couldn't see my son without supervised visits. Mind you, that was my dark day. I remember I used to walk everywhere. I used to walk everywhere. And the reason I used to walk everywhere, it was just like I used to replay everything in my brain. Like, why did I go down there? I should have just waited till tomorrow when I had a babysitter. Why did I do this? I shouldn't even left. Why did I do this? Everything. It was a constant replay in my life for 3 to 4 years. I went through a bad relationship because of it. I was involved with somebody I shouldn't have been involved with. I ended up having a beautiful daughter out of it, but I was involved. I was doing things and I was moving a certain way I shouldn't have moved, and I knew I shouldn't have moved. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame anybody for that. Like, I mean, you do things. Mm-hmm. You learn to love people when you know you shouldn't be going through that situation and dealing with it. But then you have to remove yourself. You got to start removing yourself. You got to stop being around people. Then you got people judging you. You're dealing with that. So it was a monster moment in my life. It's always going to be a monster moment in my life because I always told myself I will never put myself in that situation. I mean, I still drink and everything. That's cool, but I drink responsibly. I pay attention to what I'm doing. If I'm oblivious, I'm not driving. I'm riding with somebody. I will lay down at anybody's house. You can ask my sister. You can ask my cousins. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna lay down. I'm staying here. I ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. These are all things that I've learned and I've built up to be. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that you have to learn from. So that was the darkest point of my life due to the fact that I thought I was losing my son. I thought I was losing my livelihood. Because I thought I wasn't going to see a day of light again just because it was a child endangerment. You know, they take that serious. I was on probation. God blessed me with a great probation officer, and she knew I wasn't being crazy and active. She even told me, like, I know you're probably having a drink, but you're not acting crazy. So I was grateful for that. It was a combination of things. Like, I had to find myself again. Like, I think the fact that I went through that, I wouldn't have been doing this. Mm-hmm. So it was a gift and a curse for me. So I just wanted to express where I went with it. I don't mean to put no.
I mean, you set the bar.
I mean, right. Because I was going to use like a light situation.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, that was kind of deep. Mine, y'all. Yeah, I just had this men versus.
I mean, you started it off.
Right. But I shouldn't have started it off. My bad.
It's all good. That's your truth. It was my truth right now.
For real, that was my truth. And that's what I just wanted to say that. Mm-hmm. But Ashley, what was a moment that was traumatic for you that made you change your mindset?
So I'll just go ahead and go to this. I was going to share an experience I had in school, but the hardest thing I had to get over ever was, being in an abusive relationship with my kid's, father. So I was in a relationship with him for 8 years. And I was a student at UC for some of those years. So it was, I had to say,
did they see it?
Who, my friends or kids or what? Friends didn't really know. Like, a couple of my close friends knew, but I had to learn how to save face. So I was pretty much living a double life. Mm-hmm. Very active on campus and all of that, but was in an abusive relationship. And I mean, I seriously contemplated committing suicide at one point. I was that depressed. Usually when you're in an abusive relationship, you're isolated. So just very isolated, very low self-esteem. Only reason I ended up leaving was because I found out you could get your kids taken away if you stay. Yeah, if you stay. So I eventually ended up leaving, but getting out of that situation too, just building yourself up after you've been in an abusive relationship is really hard. We had to move just because it wasn't safe staying where we lived. And literally had to start over. So, but still take care of 3 kids, still work, still, everything. And so I think that was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And then also going through with the legal side of things, because a lot of times people, don't talk about, like, you have to go to court and, like, seeing him in court and actually standing up to him and actually really saying what happened. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But again,
you made thing. You made over that. That's the major thing.
Yeah, and I would say the biggest thing is mental health. Like even just getting in that situation, like I had low self-esteem. He's seen that, so he knew he could prey on me not having the confidence and not, having the support that I needed at that time. So that's another reason I'm really huge on mental health, because, I was in that situation. So yeah.
Yeah, the big thing about that, and I applaud you, because you don't understand. It's probably millions and millions of women that go. We see it on the internet every day, but with Blueface and what's her name?
Christian, or I don't know, Christian or
whatever her name, the Rock girl. I know her last name Rock, but
for sure.
You just see. I applaud you with that. And the reason I applaud you so much is because you knew it was a time. It's people out here that don't know that it's a time.
Yeah.
It's a certain point in time that you like, okay, I need to get up. And
get out of this.
Get up out of here.
Because
Tina stood up to Ike. That was a perfect example. Whooped him in the limo, got her lick back. But she knew after that it was time to go.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy for you, because you're an amazing person. So
well, thanks.
And it shows that you have true strength. A lot of people are scared to show their true strength.
With you saying that, I did want to mention, because this gets brought up a lot. A lot of people are called weak for being in abusive relationships, and I'm like, really? Like I had to fight like a grown man. So like to be called weak, I think. We need to support people who are in abusive relationships, because you have no idea what they're going through. A lot of times they are fighting back. It's not that they're weak. For me, it was, I had 3 kids, didn't have like someone to watch my kids. Daycare is expensive. Anybody has kids, they know. So I was like, all right, how am I going to take care of rent, pay for daycare? Like, how am I going to actually live if I leave, him alone? So it was like, it's bigger than just leaving that person. So I always try to advocate to just support someone who's in that situation in any way that you can. And if they call you for help, make sure that you pick up the phone.
Please respond.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Evan.
Man, I would say something that was very traumatic for me was my sister passing away. My sister dying due to a drunk driver. It's ironic. This was in 2008. I was 18, and she was, left the club. This was like probably club 7 days, left the club, and went, was going home with this guy that happened to be my boss at McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
And he was drunk and, swerved and hit another car. And she's the only one that died, I believe.
Damn.
And I grew up in Avondale. I went to Burton Elementary.
Oh, you went to Burton?
Yeah, I went to Burton.
He was bad.
that was Trench Elementary. But I've seen a lot. A lot of my friends, I tell people this all the time. Like, we took field trips to funerals in grade school. Like, that was a field trip, right?
Wow.
I witnessed, people dying as early as 10 and becoming numb to, okay, he died, he died. Somebody else died. But nobody, like, that was the first close,
person close to you.
Like, close.
Like, you laying your head down and you waking up, and that's the first person you see.
And it's a woman that I'm so used to men. I was used to, okay, as long as I'm gonna be running out here in the streets with my guys, throwing rocks at buses and beating up on people, jumping people, whatever. But I ain't gonna, when the guns start coming out, I'm out. I can play, but I know at the end of the day, it's gonna be a man or a guy or a male that's gonna be in danger well before a female.
Before a female, yep.
So when that happened, I was just kind of like, and she was my number one fan.
Aww.
So when I was doing music and I would rap and put her on my songs and that was my opinion. Like, what do you think about this? She kind of gave me my confidence in music.
Yeah.
And when she passed, I didn't believe it. And I think I'm even still healing from it because I suppressed it at that time. When I just kind of act like I was just numb to it. Like, nah, okay.
Yeah.
But that turned my mindset. I think that's what really took me to another level of I'm finna take this music shit seriously. And I moved. We were staying in we were staying in Avondale at this time when she passed away on Whittier. So during that time, I was like, I gotta make a change. Like, I have to do something different because if I stay out here and I'm still hanging out with the neighborhood people, and I'm not even like that. They on different levels, but I'm with them and I'm trying to. So
you're still trying to figure yourself out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a pivotal moment for me where I was like, yo, if she was here, if Marie was here, I could see her saying, yo, like, you need to go, like, turn this up. You know what I mean? Like, make me proud because I'm rooting for you. So that's when I moved out. I asked my aunt. She was staying in a brand new condo in Mount Airy Oaks when they just built over there.
The new ones over
at
there.
That time.
Yep,
and I was just like, my aunt is white. She's real cool. But, I always had our ish together. And I'm like, yo, I need to be where you at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Can I get the studio down there? I need a better environment. Like, she was just like, come on. After that, it was over. My real business started in her basement. And I turned it up. Like, everybody knew who I was. Awesome. Everybody knew the sound. I start working with your Crosses, your Blackjacks, your Showtimes. Everybody.
I remember. I'm gonna throw it back. I remember Blackjack and Polo was like they was going to the studio and they was coming to your house.
Yeah.
And Polo was like, bro, you need to go meet X. And I was like, well, I'm doing this and doing that. I ain't gonna be able because he wanted me to do the management thing with them, which I'm kind of known for. But I was like, nah, I can't go because I was still dealing with school. So I was, and then I had a girlfriend at the time. So I'm like, oh Lord, like, nah, she ain't about to let me go out at 12 o'clock just to go to the studio. That ain't even about to happen. But I literally watched him grow, and it's amazing. And just to know that was your motivation behind you is crazy. Because my motivation for this was my brother Darren, and he passed 2 years ago. We were coming up on 2 years in December. He was like, nah, bro. He was my cousin, but we were more than cousins. That was my brother. So he was like, I was like, bro, cuz I'm thinking about doing a podcast. What you think? And I was like, well, I'm trying to figure out the name. He was like, man, you should do some men versus women stuff. I said, that don't sound bad. You don't see that too often. So that's when I came up. I was like, well, I need something else to it. And then he was like, well, you think you the truth, so go ahead and do that too. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use it. Dude. And then he was the sneakerhead. So he's the reason now I buy Jordans. Okay. I try to get Jordans when they drop because I'm trying to live through him, and he's rubbing off on me. So my brother was my real motivation, and he pushed me. Besides my girlfriend, he was the one that was like, go ahead, man, you can do it. You know everybody. You know this. You know that. You educated, you got this together, you know what to do. Just go ahead and do this. So I love him to the core, and he's in me now. So
for sure.
Yeah.
That's what we do in regards of reaching the expectation that they wanted us to reach. That's really what it is. I'm gonna end it. I got one more question for you, and then we go conclude. So what can we do to help the community with this mental health movement or this mental behavior movement as well? What do you think? Well, I'm going to start with X. Or you want to go? You want me to go to X?
Doesn't matter.
X already doing something for the community. So, I mean, we can't help. I mean, far as mental.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, as far as mental, we can't force anybody to do nothing. We can't force anybody to do anything. I'm going to start off as being the truth with this. But the number one thing is we can promote it.
I was just about to go there. Like, what was that? It's a guy. I don't know if he called the therapist, but he be talking to a bunch of rappers. I remember he was talking to like Rich Homie Quan, Waka Flocka.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
But I liked how, because that was my first time like seeing the rap culture and then
talking
combined
about
with
mental
mental health with somebody that, you know, because usually when I go to look for like mental health things, I'm always looking at, whether if I'm listening to motivational speakers or I'll look up some YouTube stuff, find some pastors that's fire or, therapists, whatever.
Yeah, I'm big
but I've
on
never
TD
seen
Jakes
those two
now.
worlds.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
I'm big on TD
Me too,
Jakes right
actually.
now.
Yeah, TD, Les, all them.
Even though he rich, I'd be like, man, he touching everything
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. But yeah, like that made it cool for me in a sense of like, wow. Because I was hearing stories from artists and I was seeing different sides to artists that I never would have saw or never seen in interviews.
Yeah.
Or 10 years ago.
So like you say, promoting it, I think it's our responsibility, to just continue to spread that. Like you say, we can't make nobody go get a therapist. We can't make nobody think positive. But just like when we spread negativity, because that's what we doing for entertainment purposes, we need to get it to a place where we spread more positive vibes, more love, and more education on mental health. And for real, you got to meet people where they at, right? I don't want to sit in no hour lecture and this person is talking about some stuff that can really help me, but the way I can't relate to him. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's very monotone, you know. Meet me where I'm at.
Yeah.
I like opening books where you read the book and then first sentence is saying, it's like I get offended because it's like, is this talking to me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Well, you done opened the can up.
Yeah.
Hold on now. I think I felt let me keep reading this. So we got to meet the new generation where they're at. How do we find ways to, spread that, but in a way that they can digest it, in a way that, we all can relate. Relationships, I think, is one of those universal things that everybody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
But, and not coming from an angle of just,
That'll be the next episode, too.
Right.
We're going to talk about that, too.
But, like, starting there and just having more discussions, things like this, promoting it, and, I mean, that's all we can do, honestly.
Ashley.
I agree with you, meeting people where they are. So, and I think just having conversations like we just did, like letting people be vulnerable, because a lot of times people have not given the space to even share what their experiences have been. So, I always share, I'm honest with people, like, yeah, I have anxiety, or, I have a therapist, because that helps them. I think that helps people, be honest about what they're going through too, when you're honest about what you're going through. So if somebody's asking you, how's your day going, actually being honest and saying, you know what, my day is not going good, or I'm going through a lot right now, or just practicing really saying how you feel. I think that's going to move the needle, and help others be able to communicate better. And then, like you said, as far as you had mentioned in the beginning, we need to start young. So in the school systems, we need to have more mental health and wellness.
Oh, we was just talking about
even
this.
preschool.
Oh,
I don't know, from childcare all the way up. Mental health should be a whole class. I mean,
replace it with.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, I feel like mental health should be a class and it should be replaced with something.
A mandatory class. I mean, because if you've got a kid
I would
in the
say
class,
art, but you need the creative gene.
Yeah. But if you have kids, well, not have, if
My
you
daughter
have,
loves
but
to draw.
if kids are dealing with mental health stuff, it's harder for them to learn in all the other areas anyway. So it's like, there should be like mandatory in the beginning when kids first come in, meditation, and some sort of mental wellness exercise, like every single day. I mean, but big on prevention. So, So yeah.
So I'm gonna conclude this on this. I'm gonna conclude this episode. I definitely appreciate both of you all being here and being able to showcase and express a traumatic moment and talk about some mental behavior. I just want to promote we do have positive youth role models around the city, starting off with my brother Big Glenn, who's supposed to be here, and his Masharia mentor program. Shout out BG, also known as Glenn Taylor. We do have to start with the youth. My thing is we don't have to just end with the youth. That's my biggest conclusion with this. And we will continue to promote doing therapy. And I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. You're working a different way. You're becoming a different man. And you're setting examples. So those are the main things. Ashley, you sat up here and promoted. You going through a tough time and a bad relationship, and there are ways out of it. And I do appreciate you both being here and being able to express that in this serious conversation that we have. And I want to say we'll continue to show more gratitude to these situations. And if you know somebody going through a suicide situation, make sure that you report them or get them to the suicide hotline and actually promote that.
It's 988. So instead of 911, it's 988.
It's 988 now.
Yeah.
So for the suicide hotline. So if you know somebody thinking about suicide, going through something, or they don't know what they're doing, just refer them to that. And it's 988, right?
Yep.
So it's 988. Because I know the other one 911.
But it's 988.
Made theirs 988. Yeah. So, but I do appreciate everybody tuning in. This is another episode of Men versus Truth versus Women. I am Will West the Best. I'll let Miss Ashley.
All right. I'm Ashley Glass. I did want to mention we are going to have an event next month.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. On December the 17th, it's a Saturday from noon to 2:30. We're hosting a trauma in the Black community violence prevention event. It's going to be at the Hilton Gardens Midtown. So I believe that's Evanston, or it's on Dana Avenue.
Yeah, that's it. That's the Evanston area.
Yeah.
It's right over there.
Yeah. So we're going to have free food, all Black therapists, breakout sessions, panel discussions. We're going to have a keynote speaker. So we would love to have anybody and everybody in the community come. It's going to be family friendly. We want kids to come, especially with those football players who are football coaches
that have gone through all the trauma.
That have gone through. Yes. We want it to be like a family event for everyone to just heal and be connected with resources. So
Team Trojan back. I want y'all to hear this first. TJ Harris, I want you to hear this first. Do not be afraid to show up. Pull up on Miss Ashley at the event at the Hilton.
December 17th.
And
go ahead. And I'm Evan. Mama named me Evan on Instagram. Timeless Art Studio for the studio. And right after you're done at the event with Ashley, you can come on. You can walk over here because it's right here.
Literally down the street.
Maybe you can come to the event too.
I'm coming to the event.
Okay.
And we actually have an event December 17th from 2 to 6. We're doing a toy drive for the kids. So we're giving away a bunch of toys here at the studio, 3437 Montgomery Road. Bring your kids. Be mindful. We really, want to be able to give toys out to, less fortunate families, people that can't really do Christmas for their kids. So we're going to have milk and cookies. And we're going to be playing some Christmas movies. We're going to be playing music. We got some barbers. It's going to be cutting some hair, getting kids together for the Christmas break. So December 17th, right after the Hilton, come on over to Timeless 2 to 6. So.
And we'll definitely promote that at our event.
Likewise.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Likewise.
See, look at this. It's just a family. Y'all see this? It's just a family. But like I said, I just want to appreciate everybody tuning in, checking us out this week. And I'm Will West the Best. Check me out. I sell cigars as well. I'm going to promote myself as well. So I have Pleasure is Mine Cigar Lounge. I do sell cigar. You need anything, I get it ordered. I bring it to you. I do it all. So, but I appreciate I really do appreciate y'all with this episode and helping me get through this mental behavior, because it's something that needed to be talked about. It was on my brain, and it's funny. Evan was the person I was thinking about when I was on my way over. I'm like, I'm hoping Evan here. I'm hoping he here. But I appreciate you too.
Thank you.
And I appreciate everybody tuning
Yes,
in. This
thank
is
you.
another episode of Men vs. Truth vs. Women podcast. And we out.
Peace.